Okay, good of the cause. This is Michelle.
So this past Tuesday, there was a French festival at the Hammersholt Middle School in East Brunswick. It was for all the grades in the district. It was an event to give students the opportunity to show off their communication and speaking skills in front of everyone. So the evening started out with everyone and their families gathering at the school, and everyone brought food, so it was kind of like a potluck. Everyone brought a dessert or French food, or an entree or bread or something like that. We all ate a nice dinner, and then we all gathered in the pack. And of course the high school was there to represent our grade levels in French. And they started out from the bottom, from the smallest level of French, and then they worked up to the top. And it was really interesting I was there, of course, to help represent French for Business honors in the high school. And it was very interesting to be able to watch the evolution of French between all the grades, and how much I know now. And I was looking at the other students, at all the 5th and 6th graders on stage, and just how much I've learned with my career in French since then. The students who came from the high school all performed a song that we were doing a specific lesson about music, and everyone performed a French song that we wrote in class, and that was really fun, and I really had a good time going to that. Also, last Friday at the high school, we had some very important visitors. A bunch of scholars from Princeton University came to East Brunswick to study a school district because they're all students who are graduating and pursuing careers in education. They had a school tour, and they talked to a bunch of administrators at our school, and also they had a segment of the program where they asked a bunch of students to come and conference with the potential teachers who are graduating Princeton. They sat down in a conference room with us, and they asked us lots of questions about what would make a good teacher, what's a good ethic in a classroom, what makes a good lesson plan. And it was very interesting to attend that conference, because I noticed that there was chosen an array of students from all the different social levels and all the different parts and clubs of the high school. There were athletes, there were people who take AP IPPO, there were students, all kinds of students, to come and answer these questions. And I felt a lot of pride in our school district that scholars from an Ivy League college came to ask us what a good teacher is. And I was so happy to be able to just boast about my teachers that I've had, because they've all been amazing. And all the classes I've taken, I've absorbed so much knowledge. And to explain to them, it was so difficult within such a short period of time what great teachers I've had and their teaching ethics that I've appreciated. And I had a great time attending that. And I just take pride in my school district. So thank you.
We could tell.
Wow.
Do you know why they picked us?
Do tell.
No, I don't know, Matt.
It's back and forth now.
That was a question.
I liked your
Okay.
response.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Is there any other comments on the good of the cause? Mr. McAvoy.
As chair of the Technology Committee, I attended a technology workshop given by the New Jersey Principals, Supervisors, and Administrators Organization. The workshop keynote was delivered by Dr. Robert Zawicki, Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Technology at High Point Regional Schools. I've heard him speak before, and he truly is ahead of the curve with regard to instruction and the implementation of technology into the 21st century classroom. He lectured the audience regarding his 6-month blueprint to transform a school district into a cloud configuration with Google Apps as the basis for instruction, collaboration, communication, and fiscal responsibility. I'm looking forward to Dr. Zawicki's East Brunswick Day workshop so that Dr. Valesky's entire administrative team will see how this progressive approach to the day-to-day operations has changed how schools function. And Mrs. Shaw, you referenced short and sweet. I like things that are lengthy and comprehensive. No one at this dais is in a rush to go anywhere, and everyone who's watching wants to hear what you have to say. Thank you, Dr. Cohen.
Thank you.
So, Mr. McAvoy, no one would ever accuse you of using one word when 20 would do. Right?
With that in mind, are there any other comments on the good of the cause? Okay, well, we do have the need for closed session, so I'd like to move that the Board of Education approve the following resolution. Whereas the Board of Education must discuss matters which are not appropriate for discussion in public, whereas these subjects are within the exceptions of the Open Public Meetings Act and are permitted to be discussed in closed session pursuant to NJSA 10412B, and whereas the Board of Education intends to discuss the following matters. Pursuant to NJSA 10412B1, any matter which by provision of federal law or state statute or rule of court shall be rendered confidential or excluded from the provisions of subsection A, NJSA 10412, public meetings. The legal citation to the provision at issue is the Family Educational Rights and Privilege Act, FERPA, and the nature of the matter described as specifically as possible without undermining the need for confidentiality is student hearing on student number 101035. Pursuant to NJSA 10412B3, any material disclosure of which constitutes an unwarranted invasion of individual privacy, such as records, data, reports, recommendations, or other personal material of any educational, training, social service, medical health, custodial, child protection, rehabilitation, legal defense, welfare, housing, relocation, insurance, and similar program or institution operated by a public body pertaining to any specific individual admitted to or served by such institution or program, including but not limited to information relative to the individual's personal and family circumstances, and any limited to information relative to admission, discharge, treatment, progression, or condition of any individual, unless the individual concerned, or in case of a minor incompetent, his guardian, shall request in writing that the same be disclosed publicly, the nature of the matter described as specifically as possible, without undermining the need for confidentiality, is residency tuition appeal on student number 91523. Pursuant to NJSA 10412B subsection 7, any pending or anticipated litigation or contract negotiation other than in subsection B4, NJSA 10412, in which the public body is or may become a party, any matters falling within the attorney-client privilege to the extent that confidentiality is required in order for the attorney to exercise his ethical duties as a lawyer. The nature of the matter described as specifically as possible without undermining the need for confidentiality is Wallace Brothers, Inc. versus the East Brunswick Board of Education. Pursuant to NJSA 10412B8, any matter involving the employment, appointment, termination of employment, terms and conditions of employment, evaluation of the performance of, promotion, or discipline of any specific prospective public officer or employee, or current public officer or employee employed or appointed by a public body, unless all individual employees or appointees whose rights could be adversely affected request in writing that such matters are matters being discussed at a public meeting. The nature of the matter described as specifically as possible without undermining the need for confidentiality is employee number 22703, and the numbers listed in your agenda. I will not read that. And employee number 23609. Whereas the length of the closed session is estimated to be 90 minutes, after which the public meeting of the board shall reconvene and proceed with the business where formal action will be taken. Now therefore be it resolved that the East Brunswick Board of Education will recess into closed session for only the aforesaid subjects, and be it further resolved that the East Brunswick Board of Education hereby declares that its discussion of the aforesaid subjects will be made public at a time when the public's interest in disclosure is greater than any privacy or governmental interest being protected from disclosure in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act.
So moved.
That's Mrs. Shaw and Mrs. Becker. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Good evening, everybody. Thank you.